Hello children, let me welcome you to the virtual training center of the Brihan Mumbai Mahanagar Palika. My name is Shraddha Teacher. Children, we are in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic, isn't it? Because of that, we are not able to go to school, but that doesn't mean that we are going to stop learning. We are going to meet here regularly through the virtual training center to learn many lessons in EVS. So come on, let's go to a lesson in EVS. So children, the lesson that we will be doing today is a lesson from your standard third EVS textbook, and it is lesson number 9 from the textbook, and the name of the lesson is Where Does Water Come From? So children, since the last lesson, that is from lesson number 8, we are talking about water. Isn't it? Before that, we talked about our village, we talked about our city and the places around us, we talked about animals, isn't it? We are talked about time, etc. Now, in these next few lessons, we are going to talk about water, its importance in our life, its uses in our life, and where does this water come from, and also we will learn more about water in the next lesson, that is lesson number 10. Okay, but in this particular lesson we are going to talk about where water comes from, or where does water come from. But now, before we go to the actual lesson and study this, let us revise what we did in the last lesson, that is when we talked about our need for water. So when we talked about this particular lesson, I told you that a major part of the human body is made up of water. So how can you say that our body is made up of water? It is because the tears in our eyes is water. Okay, the saliva in our mouth is water. When you see something very interesting, when you see something very tasty, your mouth starts watering, isn't it? So there is water inside your mouth in the form of saliva. We also saw that there is a blood flowing through your body, which is water. Okay, so there is a lot of water present in the human body. Not only the human body, but also in the body of animals. Okay, we also saw that water is present in vegetables also, in plants also. So see, there is water in cucumber. Cucumber means kakdi. So whenever you cut a cucumber, whenever you grate a cucumber, and whenever you press it, water droplets will come out of the cucumber. So not only in the body of human beings, not only the body of animals, but there is water in fruits as well as vegetables also. Look at this. This is a lemon. When you squeeze a lemon, there is water inside it. Okay. When you squeeze oranges, there is water inside it. Alright, so that means that all living creatures, in their body there is a particular amount of water. In some creatures the water content is more, in some creatures the water content is less. For example, see here, when you squeeze a lemon, you will get so much of water. When you squeeze an orange, you will get so much of juice. But what about if you squeeze an apple? Will you get so much of water or juice coming out of an apple? Try it at home and tell me the difference next time. Okay, so some fruits and some vegetables, they contain more water. Some fruits and some vegetables contain less water. But it is a fact that all living things are made up of a certain amount of water in their bodies. Okay, so that is why water is very important for us. So when there is some water lacking in our body, what do you feel? You feel thirsty. When you are out in the sun, you sweat, isn't it? When you sweat, what happens? You lose the water from your body. The water flows out of your body. So what do? You drink more water. Okay? So this is how we need water. Our bodies, human beings, we need water. So is it only human beings which need water, or other animals too? See, all animals need water. See, look at this dog. Look at the way it is drinking water. Interesting, isn't it? So a dog needs to drink water. A horse needs to drink water. Okay, these are domestic animals. Now, a tiger, which is a wild animal. Look at the tiger, it is looking at you, okay? The tiger also needs to drink water. It is a wild animal. Now, for the dog, for the horse, you can give it water to drink. But you will see that the tiger, it will drink water from the ponds, from the lakes, from the rivers, in the jungle. But it will drink water because its body also needs water. Now, the tiger is such a big animal, isn't it? But have you seen the small animal, the snail? See, the snail is also drinking water. That means whether it is a human being, whether it is an animal, whether it is a domestic animal, a wild animal, a small animal, a big animal, all of us need water. So this is what we learned in our lesson last time. We also learned that we need water for various reasons, for drinking, for cooking, for bathing, for farming, for industries. Okay, so in the previous lesson we talked about why and how we need water. In this particular lesson, children, we will talk about from where you get the water. So all this water that we need, that we drink, that we use, from where does this water come? That is what we are going to learn in this lesson today. So let us start with these small exercises from your textbook. So children, whenever you start learning a lesson with me here through the virtual class videos, always open your textbook. Now when you see the video, when you see the name of the video, you all know that it is a video about EVS, lesson number 9. Isn't it? So please open your EVS textbooks and come to page number 53 where you will find this lesson. So it will be easier for you to understand. So now we have this exercise where they have asked us to choose the right answer and put a tick next to the proper picture. Okay, so let us see now what and where we are supposed to put the tick. So the question is, what do you drink water from? So there are so many things here, and let us now decide, what do you drink water from? So some of you might drink water from this glass. Okay, so let me put a tick mark here next to glass. So we use a glass to drink water. What is this thing? It is the lota. And we use the lota also to drink water. Now children, lota is actually a Indian word, but it is now included in the dictionary. Okay, so in any British English dictionary, you will be able to see the word lota. Then what is the next thing, children? It is a bottle. And yes, we drink water from a bottle also, isn't it? Depending on the situation. When you are at home, you drink water from a glass. And when you go to someone's place, they give you water in a lota, you drink it like that. When you are traveling by train, you don't have a glass, you don't have a lota with you, so you drink water directly from the bottle, isn't it? Sometimes when you go to school and you go to the water room to drink water, there you don't have a glass, you don't have a bottle, you don't have a lota also. You use the palms of your hand to drink water, isn't it? And it is a very, very unique and nice experience. Using your palms to drink water, your whole face gets wet, your shirt becomes a little wet, but we enjoy it, isn't it? And then what is the next thing? It is a water tap. So we use sometimes, like I told you, when you go to school and you have to go to the water tap, you use your palms and drink water directly from the water tap, isn't it? What about the last thing? It is a tumbler. And yes, we use to drink water from the tumbler also. We use a tumbler also to drink water. So this was the first question that they have asked you. What do you drink water from? Okay, let's move on and look at the next, you can say, exercise. What is this drinking water stored in? So the water that you drink from a glass, the water that you drink from a bottle, the water that you drink from a lota, where is it stored? So yes, it could be stored in a jug, it could be stored in a pot, Okay, it could be stored in this kind of a plastic container. You can store it in a steel drum, sometimes in this kind of a pot with a tap, sometimes in this big earthen urn, and finally in these kind of tanks also. Okay, so where is all this water stored? So if you want to drink water from a glass, then you take a jug and you pour out the water into the glass. Okay, so the water in the glass could be stored in a jug. The water in a lota could be stored in the matka or in the earthen pot. Alright, the water in the bottle could be stored in this plastic container. So we use all these things, either made of plastic or made of clay or made of steel or made of cement in order to store this drinking water. Now children, let's move on and let us see from where this water might have come. So you have a glass in your hand and you have a bottle in your hand. You can drink water directly from the glass as well as the bottle. But have you ever wondered where this water comes from? So you will say, yes, the water comes from the tap. But then the tap does not do any magic. The tap is connected to pipes and it is connected to some place. So what is this place? Where does this water come from? So it could come from wells. Okay, this is a well. Have you seen this kind of a well? When you go to your native place, that is when you go to your gaon, you might be able to see this kind of a well in which you will see people put in a bucket and they draw out the water. Alright, have you seen this kind of a place where there is a wall made in order to stop the water and water is stored there? This is a dam. Sometimes the water that we drink also comes from a hand pump. Now this kind of situation will be there if you're living in a village. Okay, sometimes when we live in a village, we go directly to the hand pump in order to draw out water which is there inside the earth. Then children, there could be a river from which you draw water. This could also be a situation for some of us who live in a village, okay, where there are no pipes, where there are no taps. So you get water directly from the river, or you could have these big sized tanks from which you get water. So all the water that we drink, all the water that we store could come from any one of these places. It could be from a well, it could be from a dam, it could be from a hand pump, it could come from a river or from a tank. Okay, let's move on and look at the next point in our lesson. So why is this person confused? Because there is certain questions which he wants answers for, just like us. So we saw that we drink water from a glass, we drink water from a bottle, we saw that we store water in a jug, in a drum. We also saw that this water comes from a well or it comes from a dam. But where does the water come from in the well and in the dam? So how does water enter the well? How does water get into the dam? From where does the water in the hand pump come from? So all this water, or all the water that we get, all the water that we use, it comes from rain. Okay, so whenever there is a rain, you will see that there is water coming down from the skies to the earth. See here, like this. And now this is a very common sight, children, nowadays. Why? Because it is a rainy season. Okay, and in the rainy season, even now as I am recording this video, I can hear the rain outside my window, and I'm sure you will be able to hear it wherever you are also. So during the month of June, up to September or sometimes October, you will see that it continuously rains. And all the water that we get, that we use throughout the year, it comes from this rain. So the rain is the main source, or you can say the most important source from which all the other sources of water are born. Because it rains, you get water in the well. Because it rains, you get water in the ponds. Because it rains, you get water in the river, etc. If it would not have rained, children, we would not have got water from anywhere. Okay? So you will see that when it rains, people get water, the plants get water, the animals get water to drink, everything around you becomes green, isn't it? So we have seen this change happening in the rainy season. Alright, so when it rains, what happens is some water flows over the ground and it gives rise to rivulets. What is a rivulet? It is a small, you can say, portion of water on the ground. So it is not like a river which is big. Okay, it is a, you can say it is smaller than a river and smaller than a stream. So this is a rivulet. So whenever you walk on the road and whenever it is raining, you will see small lines of water coming to you, isn't it? Those are rivulets. Okay, sometimes you will see streams that is bigger than the rivulet. You have streams. Streams are bigger in size as compared to the rivulet. Bigger than the rivulet, you have rivers. Okay, we have all seen rivers and we have heard about the names also of some rivers. For example, Ganga, we know about Yamuna, Saraswati, Godavari. You must have at least heard about these rivers. Okay, so when water falls to the ground, sometimes rivulets are formed like this. Sometimes streams are formed and then sometimes rivers are formed. Now what happens is, in the plain area you will see all these things, rivers, rivulets, streams, etc. But suppose it is a slope like this and suppose it rains in the slopes. So what will happen? The water will flow like this in the slope and it will get collected in such a place, and we call such places as lakes, and if it is smaller in size we call it as a pond. Okay, so this is how rainwater is collected, either in rivers or in streams or in ponds or in lakes. Sometimes what happens, children, during the rainy season there is a lot of rain and the rivers become full, and what happens, this river water, it goes and joins the sea, so the water we cannot use anymore. So what we do is we make a kind of a wall on the river. Can you see here? There is the river behind. See here, that is a river, and we have made a wall. And what happens because of this wall? The water is not wasted. And during the summer season or during the season when there is no rain, that time what we do is we open the gates of these dams. Can you see here? See, the gates of the dam have been opened and then this water is sent to people via canals, via pipes, etc. So sometimes a flowing river is blocked by building a wall, and this is called as a dam. Okay, and when do we use dams? We use dams when it doesn't rain. That time you can use the water from these dams. Okay, sometimes what happens, children, when it rains a lot, when the rain is very heavy, when it rains very heavily, the water flows away. Okay, with a lot of pressure, you will see that the water flows away. But when the rain is little less, that is less intense rain, less heavy rain, what happens is the rainwater, it seeps into the ground. Okay, the rainwater enters the ground and it gets collected under the surface of the earth. Alright, but now children, sometimes you will see that in cities, everywhere there is concrete.
Okay, so there is no place for the rainwater to seep in. This is called as seeping. This is called as slowly and slowly entering into the ground. But that is not possible in cities like Mumbai, in Pune, because everywhere there is concrete. Okay, so if there is earth, if there is soil, only then the water can seep. So what happens? Even when there is very less rain, the water flows away. Okay, so when this water goes and gathers into the ground, it is called as groundwater. So how do we get this groundwater then? So we dig wells sometimes, and sometimes we make use of these hand pumps. So see how the hand pump is working. Have you seen a hand pump ever? Now if some of you are living in a city, you must have definitely seen hand pumps. But if you're living in a village, you must have definitely seen hand pumps. But for most of us who live in cities, seeing a hand pump is a little difficult. So you can see here, there is water under the ground. See, this is groundwater. When it has rained, this water has seeped into the ground like this. Okay, and it has collected there. And we are using this hand pump in order to pull that water out and use it for us. Alright, so we have hand pumps also, alright, to use this water which is collected inside the ground, which is called as the groundwater. Now children, you will see bore wells also. Bore wells means they have these big trucks or machines which dig a deep hole into the ground, and from the deep hole we draw out water which has collected. That is the groundwater. Okay, so we have bore wells. Sometimes you will see children, water coming out from small cracks in the ground, and these are called as springs. Can you see here, water coming out? It is not flowing and coming from somewhere, but it is coming out of a particular place. So this is a spring. Okay, sometimes these springs are also hot water springs. Now this is a picture of a place called Vajreshwari, and this place is very close to Mumbai. That is why I am showing you this particular picture. Now these two tanks that you can see, there are hot water springs inside these tanks. No one has put them there, okay? They are natural springs, hot water springs. So in this spring, you have ordinary water coming out, normal water. But in this spring, you will see hot water. So what people do is, people believe that this hot water has got some kind of medicinal use. Okay, so people come from far away places and they have bath in this kind of spring water at Vajreshwari. Okay children, so this is spring. I told you, this is a hot water spring. And this particular place is Vajreshwari near Mumbai. There are other places in the world also where you will find this kind of hot water springs. Can you see, this is one more hot water spring somewhere in the world. Okay, so water can come out in the form of this hot water spring also. Now there is a small box in your lesson which tells you, do you know where a spring comes from? So we just saw how a spring comes out of the earth. So, and we also learned how this rainwater gets into the earth. Okay, now sometimes what happens is, after the rainwater enters into the earth, after it collects inside the earth, after it becomes groundwater. Now see here, let me show you this picture. The idea will become clear to you. See, now all this water is there, it is collected. Okay, we are pulling it out using a hand pump. But suppose there is a crack here in this earth. Suppose there is a crack. What will happen? The water will automatically come out without a hand pump. And that is why we will have springs like this. Okay, so how are springs formed? Rainwater seeps into the ground. It seeps deep into the ground through cracks in the soil and through rocks. Even under the ground, it flows from a higher level to lower levels. This groundwater comes out of the ground in some places and we call it as spring. So you see here the water and you can see the spring here. Okay, so this is how springs are formed. I also showed you other pictures in order to understand how springs are formed. Okay children, now let us move on and let us talk about the sources of water. So sources of water means in the beginning we saw na, we get water from the well, we get water from the dam, etc. So these are called as the sources of water. Now sources of water could be natural sources. For example, we have oceans, ponds, lakes, rivers, streams. No one has built them. Has anyone built them? No. God or nature has put them there naturally. No one can make an ocean. No one can make a river. Okay? No one can make a stream. It is naturally formed. And we get water from all these places. So they are called as the natural sources of water. We have certain sources which we make. So we have wells, which is man-made. We have tube wells, which is man-made. See, we have made this, isn't it? God has not put it there. So these are man-made. Dams are man-made sources of water. Alright? So all these are the man-made sources of water. Now let us talk about other sources of water, that is a river. So how are rivers formed? So in your textbook there is a small, you can say, box in which they have told you how a river is formed. So let me show you using this beautiful picture. So see, when there is a high mountain, so this is a mountain area, okay? And when it rains in this mountain area. So just imagine that it is raining in the mountain area. I told you that whenever it rains, what is formed? Rivulets are formed. So there are small rivulets formed like this. Can you see some rivulets here? I've shown you rivulets using the red arrows. See here, the rivulets. Now these small rivulets, they join together and they make a river. See, the river. Alright, see one more river here. So you can also see the rivulet joining together and making a big river. So when rain falls on high places like mountains, the rainwater flows downhill, means it flows towards the ground, it flows downwards. And in some places, small rivulets of water are formed. And these rivulets of water, they join together to form a river. In some places you will see that these rivulets collect in a place and ponds are formed. Okay, this is also an important point for you to remember. So this is how, children, rivers are formed. So now rivers are water bodies, streams are water bodies. Okay, lakes are water bodies. So let us now see what are water bodies or bodies of water. So you have a waterfall, which is a water body. You have a strait, which is a water body. Ocean, which is a water body. Lake, which is a water body. Pond, which is a water body. River, bay, wetland. All these are water bodies. Okay, so there are water bodies on the earth and there are landforms on the earth. So what are landforms? Places where there is land. What are water bodies? Places where there is water. Okay, so see, a hill is a landform, a mountain is a landform, a plain is a landform, valley, desert, a canyon, all these are landforms. Okay children, so this is also a point in your textbook. So we are not leaving out any point in your textbook. We are covering all the points possible from your textbook. Okay children, so now we talked about how the river is formed, what are water bodies, what are landforms, and also how springs come up. Let us move on and do this exercise related to the map. Now here it is very important for you to keep your textbook open because you may not be able to see the places clearly on the screen. Okay, so if you keep your textbook open, you will be able to see the places very clearly. So let us understand a little bit more about the water bodies in the place where we are living. So I live in Mumbai. Okay, so let me try and tell you about the water bodies in Mumbai. Now you might be living in some other place in Maharashtra. So in your textbook, you might have another map, not the map of Mumbai, but I will show you the map of Mumbai. You can find out from the map which is there in your textbook and try to answer the questions like I'm going to answer the questions now. Okay, so write the name of the sea to the west of Brihan Mumbai in the box. So this whole thing is Brihan Mumbai, where there is Mumbai city and where there is Mumbai suburban. Okay, so this whole thing in greenish color is Brihan Mumbai. So they are asking you to write the name of the sea to the west of Mumbai. So which is the sea? It is the Arabian Sea. Can you see here the name? Arabian Sea. Okay, write the names of two hills in our district. Our district means the district where I am living right now, Mumbai. You will look at the map in your textbook. Okay, so write the name of the two hills in our district. So you have the Kanheri Hills and you have the Trombay Hills. So can you see here this brownish patch? This is the Kanheri Hills, and this brownish small patch here is the Trombay Hills. So what are the names of the two hills? We have Kanheri Hills and we have Trombay Hills. Moving on, there is a very important river in Mumbai called as the Meethi River. So see, this is the Meethi River. Can you see the arrow here? This is the Meethi River. So let me show you using another color arrow. See here, this is the Meethi River. This is the course of the Meethi River. It begins here and it flows and it joins the Mahim Creek. Brihan Mumbai has several creeks on all the sides. Draw a box around the name of the largest creek. So which is the largest creek, children? It is the Tana Creek. Can you see here? The Tana Creek, or we call it as the Thane Creek. And they've also asked us to draw a box around the names of the lakes in Brihan Mumbai. So which are the lakes in Brihan Mumbai? Let us try to find at least 2 or 3 lakes here. So we have, see, the Tulshi Lake, we have the Vihar Lake, the Powai Lake. Okay, so this is about the questions about the map. Now, like I told you, I live in Brihan Mumbai. So in my textbook, I have the map for Brihan Mumbai. So whichever district you live in your textbook, you will have the map for that particular district. So you can find out how I have found out the answers here. In the same way, you can find out answers from your textbook also. Now we will move on and start doing the last part of our lesson, where we will talk about water is important to us, how it is important. So I've used a simple picture from your textbook. So see, there is one boy here. Let us name him Raju, and he has got one bottle of water. So he's got a glass full of water, isn't it? Now remember, the quantity of water in the bottle will be the same. So that means this water is the quantity of compare this bottle and think that this bottle or this water bottle is all the water that Raju has. Okay. Now Raju is joined by his friend Rohan. Now Raju has to give some water to Rohan. So now Raju will give water from the bottle, and you can see that the water in the bottle has become half now. Okay, but you will also see that our friend Raju is getting less water. See, the quantity of water in his glass is less, isn't it? Now our friend Raju and his friend Rohan are joined by 3 more of their friends. Okay? And see, the water in Rohan's glass is also less. Okay? Now they are joined by 3 more friends, Geeta, Radha and Sita. And the water in the bottle is now over. So you have 3 more girls joining Raju and Rohan, Geeta, Radha and Sita. And look at the bottle. Arey Bapre, the bottle is empty now. And see our friend Rohan, he's very sad because now Rohan has got very little water, isn't it? See, Sita also has got very little water. So what do you learn from this, children? That the water that we have is limited. And when the number of people go on increasing, we will keep getting less and less water. So what should we do? We should try to save this water. Okay? So you should turn off the tap while you're brushing your teeth. You should use less water to have a bath. You should turn off the tap when you are applying soap. So there is no need for you to keep the water running and apply soap. You have to turn off the tap after washing your hands, while brushing, etc. And you should not flush tissue paper or waste into the toilet. What will happen is the toilet will get stuck and then you will require more water. So this is how, children, you are supposed to save water. And also remember that you should try to collect rainwater also. Why you need to collect rainwater? Because see, there are 2 places in India. One is Monsimram and the other one is Cherrapunji. Okay? Now this Monsimram and Cherrapunji are places which receive too much of rainfall. That is, they get the highest rainfall in the world. So what do you think? They must be having enough water. They get so much rain, isn't it? But children, during the summer season, these places, they have shortage of water. So what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to save this rainwater. Use techniques in order to save this rainwater. See, this is a place called Konkan in Maharashtra. In Konkan also there is enough rain, heavy rains. But in Konkan also you will see that during the dry season, during the summer season, these people have water shortage. So today's lesson we talked about water and where it comes from. We talked about how the water that we drink, the water that we store, the water that we get from wells, all this water, it comes from rain. Okay, we saw how rivers are formed, we saw how springs are formed, we talked about water bodies, we talked about landforms, we made friends with the map of Mumbai, and we also talked about how water is limited and how we need to save the rainwater as well for use in the dry times.
So children, now you have watched the video. So after you watch the video now, you will have to complete a few simple tasks. Now you might have watched the video on your computers or your laptops or your mobile phones. Now after you watch the video, what will you do? You will please go to the description box which is given below the video. So what is the description box? See, the description box looks like this. Alright, and after you go to the description box, you will see that there are a few questions there. Now what are these questions about? These questions are about the lesson that we just learned or the video that you just watched. So what will you do? You will think back properly about the lesson and you will try and answer these questions and note down the answers in your notebook if you want. Okay? After that, we have another task waiting. You will also click on the link which you will find in the description box to fill up the Google form. So now what is the Google form, children? It is nothing but a simple form. There are a few simple questions there about the video which you just saw and also about yourself. So these are the tasks now that you will have to complete after you watch each video. So children, wasn't that a very interesting lesson? I'm sure you learnt a lot of new things in this lesson. If you have liked this video, please hit the like button and also subscribe to my video so that you will get to see all the videos which I keep posting regularly.